Well, it took him long enough. Finally, after 72 hours of nothing but dead silence, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis has issued a statement about what's going on between Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, and Alvin Bragg, the Manhattan District Attorney, who may be in the process of handing down an indictment against Trump. DeSantis, who we here on the front porch affectionately refer to as the Gov, finally made known his thoughts on the whole matter, and it's proof of that old saying that sometimes in life it's better not to say anything at all than to say nothing about something. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to the electronic front porch and let's talk. So, the Gov was at an event today in Florida, and an unidentified reporter asked him about the entire situation going on with former President Trump. Now, I'm going to play you part of a 3-minute clip. I will not play the whole thing, but the answer that DeSantis gives is fairly interesting for what it says, what it doesn't say, and what it does. So, let me set this up. A reporter asks DeSantis the question, gets recognized, all that good stuff, and here is what happens next.
We wanted to know what your thoughts are on the rumored Trump indictment and if you have any role in it. If charges are brought on him, will you have any role in extradition to New York?
So I've seen rumors swirl. I have not seen any facts yet, and so I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know this, the Manhattan District Attorney is a Soros-funded prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
And so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety.
True dat.
He has downgraded over 50% of the felonies to misdemeanors. He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast, vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime rate go up, and we've seen citizens become less safe. And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that.
Come again with that? Huh? Now, that clip went for about 1:07, and Ron DeSantis gives a very political answer. He's a George Soros DA, and he goes on to almost like laundry list everything wrong with a George Soros DA. Now, Gov, I've got something to tell you up front. You don't think Republican voters don't know what a Soros DA is like? Seriously? Like you're dropping some bombshell piece of news that nobody is aware of? Really? I mean, dude, you took 72 hours and this is some of what you could come up with? Good God. If this is what your response is after 72 hours, I don't want you in the middle of a big crisis. Now, front porch. Front porch. You may not be giving him credit, but I do want to go over that last 10 seconds again. So I'm going to back that up because I want everybody to hear what DeSantis just did. Okay, so let me get this back to where it was. About, I think that was the 57-second mark. Give me a moment here. Back, way back. Okay, there it is. Let me play that last 10 seconds again. Listen to this.
And look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that.
You know, for a man who has been conspicuously above the fray, everybody's been accusing Donald Trump of taking his shots at DeSantis. I think he just came down and just got nose to nose with Trump. That's a shot. For those of you out there watching who are wondering, did he just take a shot at Trump? Let old Front Porch answer that one for you. Yeah, he just took a shot. Now, to get a little further into this clip, DeSantis keeps going on about, Soros DA and Soros DA and how bad everything is for the people of New York City and people around the country and da da da. And then he gets down to, answering the most important part of the question. Are you going to be involved in any way, shape, or form with the question of extradition? So let me play you his answer to that, and I'll just let you decide for yourself what you think it means.
And in terms of, we are not involved in this, won't be involved in this. I have no interest in getting involved in some type of manufactured circus by some Soros DA, okay? He's trying to do a political spectacle. He's trying to virtue signal for his base. I've got real issues I got to deal with here in the state of Florida.
Wow. Real issues. I don't know, but I would think that a real issue would be that one of your citizens is being extradited to the political equivalent of a show trial. But, if you've got things more pressing than that, Ron, hey, don't let us hold you up. By all means, please go right ahead and deal with them. Now, people are going to say that I'm being very unkind to the Gov, and you know what? Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh here, but I don't think this is unjustified criticism. I mean, Donald Trump, regardless of what you think of the man personally, is about to be extradited, if he's not in New York City already, to a show trial. How is this good for anybody in America? So let's get into the reaction of this, because I think it's going to be very telling about what Ron DeSantis has done. So what has been the reaction among people who have heard this 3-minute clip from Ron DeSantis? Well, it's been wide and it's been varied. And unfortunately for DeSantis, it's not very helpful, but we'll get into that a little bit more in detail later. Now, as far as the reaction's concerned, I'm going to say something up front. We're not even going to bother focusing on what Democrats, progressives, or liberals think of it, because frankly, among Republicans, conservatives, and populists, as that old saying goes, this ain't nothing but a family thing. Inside that circle is where this will be decided, the meaning of those 3 minutes, its impact on the presidential nomination for the Republicans, and what it's going to mean for Ron DeSantis' political future currently and going forward. But as far as the reaction, let's take a look at a couple of different people. I'm going to show you first, Robert Barnes from his Twitter page today had a pretty good take. Now, most people know that Barnes is a supporter of Trump, but he's a wide-eyed, open supporter. He knows what he's getting with Trump. But look at this. Quote, "This was the dumb statement which ruined the rest. DeSantis also confirmed he will not be using his power as governor to protest or contest the proceedings, much as he sat by and did nothing after being tipped off about the Mar-a-Lago raid. Poorly played by his would-be presidential campaign." Oh, that's not what I'd call a ringing endorsement for a 3-minute comment. But it gets a little bit better. I'll also reference now the journalist Mike Cernovich. And Cernovich's take on this is really interesting. Listen to this. From his Twitter page, quote, "It's so obvious. That's why I'm cringing at people saying DeSantis shouldn't have made this move because Trump insulted him. DeSantis had his only chance to truly big-time Trump, a helpless Floridian who needed his help. Once in an election cycle opportunity." That is, he's got a very valid point. It's not often that you get the chance to out-Trump Trump. If DeSantis had come out with a full-throated defense of this citizen of the state of Florida, who just happens to be the former president, I think it would have gone a long way toward, shoring him up in the minds of some voters who are maybe starting to give him a look. Now, that's what everybody else has got to say about it. As you might imagine, your friendly beau in a chapeau has his own take on this whole thing, which I will now give to you. Oh, gosh. I've got a piece of advice for Governor DeSantis. Please, save yourself, your supporters, your financial backers, and everybody else a lot of pain and aggravation. Don't even bother declaring your candidacy for the presidency of the United States, because after that 3-minute answer, you're done. Just, you're done. Don't even bother. You've sank yourself. You're like a submarine that shot out a torpedo intending to hit one target, and the torpedo comes around and broadsides your boat. You are now taking on water. It's just a matter of time before you sink. The worst part about it is, to keep the analogy going, you shot the torpedo while you were still in dry dock. You hadn't even hit the water yet, and you've managed to sink yourself. Why? Because for the past 72 hours, everybody has been looking to you to see what you'll do. Republicans of all stripes, regardless of whether they like Donald Trump or not, have come out with a complete, full-throated defense, most of it around the argument about what is and is not the rule of law, how individuals should be treated in this country, whether there is a two-tiered system of justice. As I say, whether Republicans have liked Donald Trump or not in the past, they recognize that this is a seminal moment for you to take 3 minutes and drop some snarky little line wrapped around a grocery list of problems with a George Soros-funded district attorney is beneath someone wanting to seek the presidency of the United States. I love Ron DeSantis as a governor. He's been a great governor for the state of Florida. I don't dispute any of that. But if this is any indication of how he's going to operate, should he win the Oval Office or win the Republican nomination to even seek the Oval Office, forget it. He's done. He's done, because you got to stop and think about something else. When Trump voters, notice I didn't say Republican voters, when Trump voters who will vote in the Republican primary let this sink in, take the full measure of this 3-minute statement, when they let this marinate in their brain before they go pull the switch at the ballot box, I'm telling you, he's done. He is absolutely done. He's lost the Trump voters. He's furthermore lost Republican voters who may not be MAGA, who may not be America First, but regular Republican voters who maybe aren't as tuned in yet. They're going to look at this and go, really? Now, keep in mind, there is one group of people that Ron DeSantis has made happy with this statement, the GOP establishment. You know, the Paul Ryan, big corporate donor wing of the Republican Party. Hey, this is a great statement. That line about, I don't know what's involved with paying hush money to a porn star. Oh, this is right up their alley. This is their sort of thing. And you'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. I'm telling you right now, Governor DeSantis, do yourself a favor. Don't even bother to declare. You just ended your candidacy on the 20th of March, 2023, before you ever declared your candidacy. So do we yet know what the full impact of this statement that Ron DeSantis has made? What is it? Do we have an idea? Well, not fully, but we're about to find out in the next 24 to 48 hours. I want to show you something that aired today on Real America's Voice Network. Some of you may know, Steve Bannon has a show there called War Room, and one of the regular participants on the show is a pollster by the name of Richard Barris, a.k.a. the People's Pundit. If you are not following him, do so. Rich Barris is probably one of the best pollsters in America, and it just so happened, about the time that DeSantis was dropping this 3-minute comment, Barris has a poll in the field right now. Now, what I want to do is set this up. So as they're having the discussion about DeSantis' comment today, Bannon asks Barris, are you seeing anything yet? Now that sets this up, so listen to this.
So talk to me about what your polling has shown so far. I know you're updating this constantly. Walk us through the math.
Yeah, so Trump has ranged in our nomination polling from a low of about 43%, and I went back and looked. We have not had him as high as some other people who had him at around 55 to 56, other pollsters. We had him only at 50. One point he hit 52. So, really kind of, majority, but not, soaring, definitely dominant, but not soaring. Yesterday, when we opened up for interviews and started polling, he hit 60% and he held it all night. He held it all night. DeSantis fell below 20, which is bad in and of itself, but he's going to end up in this poll when it's said and done, Steve, because today did not help him. He's going to end up at 15, maybe 15 a low of 15, a high of 18 if he's lucky. It's bad. It's bad, and that's from 29. DeSantis was at 29 before. That collapse. This is why people have to understand too. That's why he flip-flopped on Ukraine.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm no expert on polling, but even I have the good sense to know if you're polling in the high 20s and you drop a comment like DeSantis did, and you may wind up being somewhere between 15 and 20%, you have absolutely damaged yourself. And keep in mind, DeSantis hasn't even declared for the presidency yet. That 3-minute comment is absolutely ruinous to Ron DeSantis' chances. He hasn't even left the starter's gate yet. Now, there's one last thing about this clip, and I won't play it, but I will reference it. Barris makes the comment that this may be the Scott Walker moment of the 2024 campaign. Now, if you're wondering what he's referencing, he's talking about something that happened way back in 2016. For those of you who may not remember it, Governor Scott Walker was the Republican governor of the state of Wisconsin, a conservative's conservative. I mean, this man was credentialed right down to the bone. A lot of people were looking at him thinking, hey, this could be the guy that gets us the White House back. Then Trump gets in. And all of a sudden, that early momentum that Scott Walker had starts to fade away, it bleeds away, and it goes to Donald Trump. So Walker's got to do something to try and get himself back into this thing. Now, that sets up the clip you're going to see. This is from a debate at the Reagan Presidential Library very early on in the 2016 campaign. Listen to this.
What's wrong with this debate? We're not talking about real issues. And Mr. Trump, we don't need an apprentice in the White House. We don't need an apprentice in the White House. We have one right now.
Sound familiar? That apprentice comment was something that was worked up inside Walker's campaign. They wanted to drop it on Trump somewhere, and they did it at this debate. And about a week later, Scott Walker was done. His polling numbers tanked. The establishment just loved it. They thought it was a great line. They were applauding during that debate. You know, the people that were there, the big money donors, you know, the establishment politicians in the Republican Party who were supporting Walker because they thought he was the guy. Yeah, they thought it was great. And Republican voters looked at that and went, really? You're going to use a cheesy line at a time like this in our nation's history? History may not repeat itself, but it does have a certain rhyme to it. And I have a feeling Ron DeSantis is not a good student of history because he just made the same mistake that Scott Walker did. How's it all going to play out? We're going to see in the next few days and weeks, but I'm telling you right now, to borrow a line from an old song, DeSantis, he got it bad and it ain't good. But that's what I think about it. Tell me what you think. Do me some favors as we wrap this thing up. Number 1, if you are not a subscriber to the channel, please do so. Number 2, hit the thumbs up button. You'd be helping out a new content creator a great deal with that little action. Number 3, if you have friends of yours that you think would enjoy this content, please share it around. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative, and I'll see you next time.